Hello. Thank you for watching. I deserve a medal. Don't send it to me. I don't have room for all the medals I deserve. I deserve a medal for watching the video that I watched, so I can talk to you, so that we together can learn what the Catholic Church really believes and teaches, so we do not have misconceptions. Now, I tortured myself. That's why I deserve a medal. I'm not saying the Catholic Church's torture or learning about them is, but this one video that I'm reviewing did not have the words all the way on the screen. The quotes ran off of the screen. They had no spoken words. They had background music. It was beautiful background music, but I prefer a YouTube video where I hear people talking. I prefer a YouTube video where if you're going to put words on the screen, the whole quote ends up on the screen. But anyway, Junmeskie is the name of the channel. Junmeskie. He titled this video Misconceptions. The misconceptions was in the title, so it's a video to clarify misconceptions. And some of what he did was not clarifying misconceptions. Let's get specific now. Catholics worship Mary is the misconception he tried to refute. There were like 3 of these about Mary, so at the end of, when I get to the last one about Mary, I've got thoughts. But he told the story that's in the Bible of Jesus on the cross. He tells his disciple John, "Behold thy mother, woman, behold thy son," giving care of his mother to his disciple. At that point, according to Junmeskie, Jesus was giving Mary, symbolically giving Mary to all of us to be our mother. No thanks, I don't need her for a mother. Not worshiping, but she's your mother. 2, I'm not sure what he was refuting, what misconception he was refuting, but it was in his video, so let's talk about it. All have sinned, therefore Mary, the mother of God, is also a sinner. Of course. Wait, no, I guess, see, if it's not a misconception, if it's something I believe, that's the difference. If I believe something about the Catholic Church that's wrong, that's a misconception. If I believe something you think I'm wrong about, that's not a misconception. But anyway, so that's the way his quote starts out for the next segment. And part of the next quote was, "No, Jesus made his mother sinless. He saved her from the devil. Even before conception, he saved her from the devil. So she was born sinless and stayed sinless her whole life." Okay, 3, praying to the saints. His refutation of Catholics praying to the saints was pointing out that according to his belief, and there's some Bible verses he claimed prove this, that the saints can know what we're doing and look back on us. And of course, let's see, and that the saints have influence with God, and that the prayers of the saints are continually before God. When he says saints, he means something different what the Bible means when the Bible says saints, according to my understanding. He means a person who has passed on, who the Catholic Church has officially designated a saint. When I say the word saint, I mean member of Jesus Christ Church. And when I say saint, I'm meaning, right now, people who are members of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. I am a saint, according to God. 4, 2 words, statues, idolatry. I'm guessing the misconception he is trying to refute with number 4 is that Catholic statues are idolatry, or Catholics engage in idolatry with their statues. But he was unclear by having only 2 words be the misconception. He pointed out there were images in Solomon's temple and in the tabernacle. He said what Catholics do with their statues of their idols, statues, images of the saints is like what everybody in this modern world does with family photographs. When you've got grandma's picture on the wall, you are not worshiping her. He said they greet, reverence, and respect the saints, and via the statues of the saints, they're not worshiping them. He made some analogies between bowing down to a world leader, a king, or a queen. 5. Confession of sin to a priest. What's the misconception here? Here's another example of something that does not belong in a misconception video. Catholics do confess to Catholic priests, don't they? His video tried to explain why that's the right thing to do or something. Let's see, 6. Call no man father is a quote from the Bible, and he claims that Paul claimed the Apostle Paul claimed fatherhood over those he was writing to. In 1 Corinthians chapter 4, verse 15. My thoughts about this, well, okay, Catholics call their priest father. How is that a misconception? It is not. I thought I was going to be watching a video that would help me to not have misconceptions about the Catholic Church. Instead, I ended up with a video that many times now we're seeing is just trying to teach me or convince me, but not clarifying a misconception. But my thoughts about that, there's a Joseph Smith translation correction to that verse that Protestants use to denounce Catholics for calling Catholic priests father. And that Joseph Smith translation correction is actually creator is the correct word that the apostle was, well actually that's a quote from Jesus. It's in the Gospels, it's Jesus saying it. A better translation of what Jesus was saying, Jesus' point in that part that is translated as call no man your father, is creator. So to call no man your creator. 7. Where did the Bible come from? He didn't refute a misconception here. He was claiming that Catholic Church is where we got the Bible. Yes, that there was no Bible until almost 300, and towards the end of the 300s. I did not have a misconception about that. The Catholic Church put together a Bible. All that refutes is Protestants and evangelical Christians who chant, inerrant, perfect word, never lost anything. Well, you're giving the Catholic Church credit for something really good if not one little tiny piece was missing from the Bible, if it's all perfectly preserved. Let's see. Sola Scriptura and Sola Fide are not in the Bible. Okay, this is not a refutation. This is just teaching a Catholic doctrine. He's right about this point, but it should not be in a misconceptions video. He pointed out that Martin Luther, founder of Lutheranism, or namesake of Lutheranism, was excommunicated, and he's the one who said Sola Scriptura and Sola Fide. It claimed that he tried to take out certain books from his translation of the Bible, for example, James and the book of Revelation. That's a fact. I claim that's why the Protestant Bibles are smaller than Catholic Bibles, but most, if not all, Protestant Bibles now have those books that Martin Luther wanted to take out. So there's got to be another reason for the difference in size other than books not being taken out that Martin Luther wanted taken out. Or do some of the Apocrypha fit that category too, and not only James and Revelations? And 9, the second commandment is removed from the Bible. Okay, here's an actual misconception. Do Catholics believe in not worshiping idols and making graven images? Did they cut that out of the Ten Commandments or out of the Bible? The explanation of the Catholics here, or the Catholic making this video, was that what Protestants call the second commandment is a part of the first commandment. So the Catholic way of looking at it is, thou shalt have no other gods before me, nor shalt thou bow down to them, nor worship them, and thou shalt not make unto thee any graven image. Is just all the same thing. I think they're different enough that Protestants are right to call them two different commandments. Okay, but now we know about that. Good. 10. The dead are sleeping, therefore Mary cannot hear our prayers, is the... Okay, I think that's not the Catholic belief, but the non-Catholic belief, which means it is another example of does not belong in a misconceptions video. But he put it in here, so let's talk about it for a second. He quoted scriptures that are about the resurrection. The Bible is very clear that there will be a resurrection, that all people will be resurrected. I don't see how that refutes whether Mary cannot hear our prayers or not. Now, if you understand the truth about what death is, our spirit keeps living. So there is a spirit alive for everyone. But my understanding about Mary is she died after Jesus' resurrection, since she was there at the cross, and she is still dead, awaiting the first resurrection at the start of the millennium. And not appreciating people praying to her. But, alright, in this video we found out that Catholics believe Mary is sinless, that she has such a high position, she is the mother of everybody. I don't call anyone who ever lived on this earth as immortal sinless, except little babies, except those who die as babies, sinless. I'm confused by Catholics calling Mary sinless when the scriptures don't say that. We don't need her to be sinless. And then saying we don't worship her after saying she's sinless. If she's sinless, wow, that sounds a lot like worship. And Mary hearing our prayers, or hearing what we say to her when she's not with us physically and not hearing us by technology. That sounds like a attribute of godhood, to hear me when you're not here with me, to hear without technology. That sounds like an attribute of godhood. Alright, now, transubstantiation and the Eucharist. I did not have a misconception about Catholics and the Eucharist and transubstantiation before I watched this video. I don't think that's very widely misunderstood. I think it's very widely understood that Catholics believe that the bread and wine literally becomes the body and blood of Christ. He explained it as that the body, as it physically doesn't change, but substantially changes. Alright, infant baptism. Catholics do baptize infants, don't they? Why did a Catholic put infant baptism on a video about misconceptions? He tried to prove that infant baptism is a good thing or required or needed. And it's not a misconception if you're explaining to me why, or trying to convince me to agree with you about something. Jesus' brothers, that's the only two words he put up. I'm guessing he means Jesus had brothers. Of course he did. It's clearly in the Bible. But anyway, the word for brother, his explanation about that is the word used for brother could also mean cousins. So when Jesus' mother and brethren were looking for him in that one verse in the Bible, it could mean his cousins. Linguistically, he's right. There are some languages where the word for brother and cousin is the same or similar. For example, in Vietnamese, my cousins are the same word for brother and sister, and then one more word after it. That lets me know it's not a brother, but it's a cousin, and somebody could get lazy or not pay attention. Lazy about saying that other syllable, or not pay attention to whether that syllable is being spoken. But I'm not convinced by that. Mary was married to a man. Sex between husbands and wives is not at all a sin. There is zero sin in husbands and wives having sex. So even if Mary was sinless, she wouldn't have violated. I don't agree with her. I don't agree that Mary was sinless, but even if she was sinless, having sex with a husband would not be a violation of God's commandments and would not be a sin. So, yeah, of course Mary had sex with her husband, and that's why Jesus had little brothers and sisters. It's very obvious in the one verse when Jesus was at a synagogue and told them who he really was, or hinted at it. And those who refused to believe go through a list of the names of his brothers and didn't name his sisters, but said he has sisters. How would it make sense to bring up somebody's cousins in that situation? I don't think it would make sense to bring up somebody's cousins in that situation. In my opinion, it would only make sense to bring up brothers. One argument used in the video was if Jesus Christ had brothers, then he would have given, a responsibility for his mother to his brothers. Maybe, maybe not. Jesus could have had reasons for not giving his brothers responsibility. There are people right now in this world who have brothers and sisters they don't get along with, but they get along with somebody else better. There are people in this world who have brothers and sisters who are losers in various ways, and they would rather, give things to somebody who's not a loser, not a drug addict or a criminal or something. Okay, 14, it was unclear what he was refuting in 14. He denounced charismatic preachers like Joel Osteen. I don't watch a lot of Joel Osteen, but I don't see how he is an antichrist or avoiding Christ, or I've never heard of him, a quote from him where he called himself sinless. And then 15, apostolic succession. Okay, in case you didn't know, I already knew this. Catholics believe they have some kind of authority or priesthood from Jesus Christ's apostles in their church now. The Pope has that, despite there being no apostles in the Catholic Church now. He did not prove Catholicism has the keys that Jesus gave Peter. He did disprove Protestants and evangelicals who say there is no church, don't worry about a church. Jesus Christ did not give limited people authority. The keys that Jesus gave to Peter are right now on the earth. They're not physical keys. It's representation. Those keys are representation of something. And they are held by Russell M. Nelson, prophet, apostle, seer, and revelator of Jesus Christ and Father in heaven. 16, papal supremacy. I'm confused why this was in a misconceptions video. So it's important to have leadership and organization in your church. He proved that with it when he, I don't know what he was clarifying, but when he talked about papal supremacy, Pope supremacy. Pointed out there are 38,000 Protestant denominations. That does not prove that the Pope is God's representative. It's just a good piece of food for thought to make you second guess whether you want to be Protestant. Alright, so he did not prove that the Pope is God's representative, and I'm confused why he said this in a misconceptions video, because I have never heard anyone have a misconception that Catholics don't think the Pope is important. Whatever he was trying to refute. Thank you for watching this, and you have a good day.